Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And to be honest, I actually have to say that I'm actually starting to get more and more motivated to doing videos now, because as time is going on, it's just well, let me just get right into it, right? I mean, first of all, my depression obviously has lowered a bit. I mean, it comes and goes. Anybody who has any form of depression whatsoever will pretty much tell you that it's something that you just kind of deal with when it comes, and sometimes are better than others. So, I mean, I'm doing this commentary right now, and I could tell you, I'm still depressed, but not as much as I was around the time when I made the depression video, being a little bit open about that. But as of recently, one of actually the best commentator ever, in my humble opinion, and he was also the original commentator, also known as Blame Truth, has recently started doing Call of Duty videos again since stopping. Like last year, he basically announced, or either last year or very early on this year, he basically announced that he was done making videos, and he hasn't made a video ever since very recently. Actually, he's been making videos over the last, I don't know, week or so. And they say the worst situations sometimes bring the best things. I mean, some good comes of everything, no matter how bad things get sometimes. So it's like, hey, and I basically put it in his comment section, hey, we got a terrible Call of Duty this year, but hey, at least we got back Blame Truth, So, man, I'll tell you what, man, if I even get to 1/3 as good as this guy is in terms of doing uncut commentaries and all this kind of stuff, content creation and all that kind of stuff, I mean, if I get to 1/3 as good as he is, man, I would be happy as fuck. And if I ever got lucky enough to even do a dual comm with this guy just once, I could probably die the next day and die with a big ass smile on my fucking face. Pretty much I'd look like Joker. You guys remember in 1989 Batman Joker, when they found his body after he dropped from the top of the whatever the hell that was, and he had a smile on his face, and he had the ha 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 thing, or he had like a toy in his in his pocket that made the laughing sound, but that would pretty much be me. But anyway, that's not everything that I wanted to say in this commentary. I wanted to actually start talking about Black Ops 5 already, and I'm thinking about doing a series on this because, quite frankly, no disrespect to anybody else, but I'm going to keep it real. To me, especially at its current state right now, Modern Warfare is pretty much irrelevant to me. I haven't played the game since playing 3 sessions on it since the first 2 days of release, and that's all I got to say about that, really. And for those of you guys that follow me on Twitter, you guys have a little bit more of an insight in terms of what I think of the game and all that kind of stuff, the kind of retweets I've been doing. I mean, there's been other great players and veteran people in the community, not just content creation, but just in the game as well, pros and pub players alike, and your average fans alike, that pretty much a majority of us actually agree that the game is just, how do I put this nicely? It's underwhelming. It's underwhelming, to say the least. It's a huge letdown. It's I'll tell you what, in my opinion, and I'm not copying other YouTubers by saying this, but I've had this opinion for the longest time. And Ghosts at its prime, Ghosts itself was way better than what Modern Warfare is. I mean, you could at least move around in Ghosts. So, I mean, it's kind of funny in 2019 how a game can come out that is so underwhelming in terms of what Call of Duty really is, that all of a sudden you appreciate Ghosts. I mean, Ghosts had its merits, though. I will say that, and I've said it in previous commentaries, and I'll say it again. Ghosts could have been better than Black Ops 2 if there were some minor changes. But then again, every single year that a Call of Duty comes out, there's always little changes here and there that could be made that all of a sudden can make that Call of Duty the best Call of Duty ever. Modern Warfare, unfortunately, I don't know. You can't really you can't really fix bad maps, and on top of that, there's a few other things that myself, as an experienced player and a player that, again, I will never ever put myself anywhere near the top pub players or the top pros or anything like that, or I'll just at the most I could say I guess I'm an average pub stomper, or whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is nowadays, right? But there's things that I'm very, very passionate about, and that's where kind of how this video kind of comes in and goes hand in hand, because I'm going to start talking about Black Ops 5 now, because it's very important to kind of just start getting the momentum going in that direction, because, well, Modern Warfare to me is irrelevant, number one. Number two, we've got a whole bunch of things going on with Black Ops 5 that have been rumored ever since before the Modern Warfare release. But with that being said, in my humble opinion, no matter what happens with Black Ops 5, even if Black Ops 5 ends up being underwhelming, honestly, I don't think it'll be as underwhelming as Modern Warfare is in its current state. Are we going to find things about Black Ops 5 that we don't like? Absolutely. I mean, that's been true with every single Call of Duty ever since the beginning, really, or at the very least, the last 5 or 6 years. But with that being said, I think it could still pass. And there's a few very, very key elements that these guys need to take into consideration before releasing their game that I want to get into before we end this commentary. And one of those things are that we need to return to 100 health. It's simple as that, because I understand, and I am very much all about widening the skill gap, especially with the time to kill and the health and everything like that. Sure. But the thing is, there's a call when you increase the health to 150, there's a Call of Duty element that's being taken away simultaneously that a lot of players, both good players and actually even the players that are not as good, can actually see eye to eye on this. It's actually very part of the Call of Duty formula is that you could get a 2-piece or a 3-piece like really, really quick if your aim is true and if your positioning is correct and reaction time, all that kind of stuff. And with this game, if there's a 2-on-1, it's kind of like Halo, to where chances are you're going to die if it's a 2-on-1, unless one of the people or both of them don't see that you're there and you manage to sneak up on them from the side or from the back. A 2-on-1 is something that you're just not going to win. But if the health is at 100 and if the time to kill is at a good pace, 2-on-1s are definitely possible. They could be challenging, but they're definitely possible. And you can even go for a triple or a quad. So I think we need to go back to 100 health. Flinch needs to get the fuck out of the game. It's causing way too many inconsistencies, and even the pros themselves look for ways to combat flinch. I mean, at least if you don't want to get rid of flinch for whatever reason, Treyarch, at least give us a way to counter it. Like, put toughness back into the game. Out of all the things that you could bring back that the community will love you for, put toughness back into the game. Leave Ghost the way it is. I mean, Ghost, should only work when you're moving, which is great. Let's see. The time to kill in Black Ops 3, in my opinion, was very superb. It was perfect. It was like you could have gunfights, and at the same time, the time to kill would be fast enough. But you can, if your reaction time is good, and if you're able to react and understand and know where the enemy is shooting at you from, and if your aim is better, and if you're able to snap on the target very well, you can still take them out, even though you started taking hits before you started hitting back. So I'd say the time to kill in Black Ops 3 is great. I mean, Black Ops 1, again, the time to kill was very, very slow in Black Ops 1 in comparison because of the hit detection not being very consistent. The worst in the series, in my opinion, although I never played World at War, so I can't really say about that. But with my experience from in the Black Ops series, Black Ops 1 has the worst time to kill. The longest time to kill, because the hit detection just sucked. It was the worst hit detection in my experience. Let's see. You gotta. Oh, by the way, what you guys did with Black Ops 4 in terms of the limiting attachments to weapons, I see what you were going for when you made that balance. I see that, and I understand that, and I respect that, but people will not use a certain weapon unless they can't put a certain attachment on it. As simple as that. Like, especially if you're an aggressive player. Now, I understand what they were going for with the balance. I totally get it. But at the same time, I think we need to go back in time and just use the Black Ops 3 or the Black Ops 2 method. Especially like with things like stock and the way they nerfed stock. In my opinion, it took a lot of the fun out of the game and just made it too realistic. So let's make stock as good as it was back in Black Ops 2 or even Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare did stock very well. And that's actually tied into the flinch as well, as I mentioned in previous videos. Like when you fire your weapon, your strafing speed slows down, or when you take a hit, your strafing speed slows down. In Black Ops 2 and Infinite Warfare, that didn't happen. Maybe if you didn't have toughness on, it would kind of happen to an extent, but if you had toughness on, it just wouldn't happen, and it would give you a consistency. So the person with the again, it reinforces the fact that the person with the highest accuracy and the one that can continue to aim well throughout that gunfight would win, which is the way it's supposed to be, no matter what game you play. It's not just limited to Call of Duty. And at the same time, with not having that random weapon flinch, it really adds a certain of consistency into the game, and it takes away annoyance. It's one thing to be annoyed by somebody that knows how to flank around the map and ends up stabbing you with a weapon like these knives only or only use me blade. But it's a whole other thing when all of a sudden your flinch is inconsistent and it's ridiculous. Like one of the biggest gripes I had with Black Ops 3, especially in the beginning before they kind of toned down the flinch a little bit, was the fact that the flinch was annoying in the beginning of the game before they toned it down a little bit, number one. And number two, that with high caliber, I cannot tell you during beta as well as... Actually, no, I don't think it was beta. It was actually during the before the first patch of that game, before they patched it up, that like I was constantly getting killed by headshots, which was very fucking annoying. You know, the high caliber with that flinch was just very annoying. So in a sense, it kind of gave noobs like a way to get lucky and get those lucky kills. I mean, these guys are smart. They find ways to kind of fit things in. Another thing, some people were complaining that score streaks, although the score streaks in Black Ops 4, especially the high tier end ones, were pretty good. Like for instance, the Mantis is better than the Cerberus and is better and more lethal than the Cerberus and the AGR from Black Ops 2. No doubt about it. I don't think anybody will argue that. The attack chopper is good. The sniper's nest is good. You know, the gunship is basically an AC-130. So that's fine and all. But the thing is, I think we could use more. If we're getting about 15 streaks in Black Ops 4, I mean, we might have maybe slightly more, but I think it's 15 if I'm not mistaken. I haven't gone back to count it. I mean, I don't script my commentaries, guys. I go nonstop from beginning to end. So I think we could use more score streaks. And what is wrong with... I know that Specialist is an Infinity Ward thing, and I know the Nuke is an Infinity Ward thing, but Treyarch, what is wrong with you guys taking a small page out of another developer's book and adding it into your game? Why not? You did it with Play the Game, with what World War II did, and then you added it to Black Ops 4, which was great. So why not do something like that with a nuke? I mean, I'm sure. Don't get me wrong. Getting a nuked out medal or the unstoppable and all that kind of stuff, that's great and all. But I think players that are capable of getting it and consistently getting it, or if a player just gets fortunate or lucky enough to get it, or even players like me that don't really go for them, but like if you get that streak, it would be nice if we had that. If we had something, just give us something other than medals. So I think we would appreciate that as well. There's nothing wrong with pick 10 in my opinion, but again, if you could find a way to basically fit in what we used to do with the I'm not saying this for myself, but I'm saying what the Call of Duty community is saying. Like a lot of people want pro perks, a lot of people want this. So I mean, and again, pick 10 mixed with specialists. I mean, if you bring back specialists, the specialist strike package bonus or whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, that would kind of like be a nod to those players that have been asking for the old system and the pro perks. And even though they may not get that because you guys are Treyarch and you guys have your own way of doing things, I think that would be kind of like a good middle ground, a good compromise to say, hey, we're not going to do this because we don't want to turn into Infinity Ward or the old Infinity Ward. We're going to remain Treyarch and we're going to do our own things and find our own ways to innovate. But the thing is, at the same time, a lot of players have been asking that. A lot of players have been asking that of Treyarch, and Treyarch hasn't done that. So if Treyarch were to do something like that, I think the fans would be very, very pleased and happy and would be thankful for it. And another thing, especially since the next Call of Duty Black Ops game is rumored to be like a reboot of Black Ops or like a celebration of all the Call of Duty Black Ops games or whatever the hell you want to call it. The thing is that you need to have the orbital VSAT back. The VSAT is one of those. The VSAT at this point is basically like a UAV, especially with a Treyarch game. You need to have it in the game. It's part of the Black Ops formula. Hell, even Infinity Ward themselves have an advanced UAV or a version of the VSAT in their game, and it's something that that Treyarch originally did with Black Ops 1. And like in Infinite Warfare, they even gave us a variant of the advanced UAV, which was basically a VSAT, which I use whenever I play Infinite Warfare. It's one of the main 3 streaks I run. So if Infinity Ward can give you guys that kind of respect, you guys could do that as well. So I've already gone way over time than I was originally going to in this game. But the thing is, there are a certain key number of things that need to be taken on, brought back. Oh, and of course, please do not bring back specialists. Sorry, guys. I should have mentioned that in the very beginning because that's usually the very first thing that comes to mind. Please, specialists need to go. I respect the fact that you guys tried to do something new, but at the same time, you overdid it with Black Ops 4, and it's one of the things that really put a sour taste in a lot of Call of Duty players' mouths. Because we were divided on it in Black Ops 3, we accepted it because it wasn't like overkill. It was still kind of annoying, but not annoying to the fact that, you know, people want to tear their hair out or chop off their man parts or something like that. But but with Black Ops 4, it's definitely very annoying to both skilled players and non-skilled players alike. So it adds a certain level of annoyance. So if you don't want to take specialists out, at least bring it back, tone it back to the way it was in Black Ops 3 at the very least. But I think I speak for most of the community when we say take the specialists out of the game. We had them for 2 years in a row. Let's take them out of the game and leave them out. And yeah, that's again, I've already gone way over time on this one, guys. I'm out. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but let's get the hype for Black Ops 5 going, because in my opinion, respectfully speaking, it's going to be way better than whatever we get with the next Black Ops game. It's going to be better in terms of gameplay wise than what we got with Modern Warfare, especially at its current state. And that's all I got for this one, guys. Welcome back, Blame Truth. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better. I'll catch you guys on the next one.